In today's episode, we will feature the she-wolves, women who are exceptional at their time. A she-wolf is a woman who knows what she wants and is free of prejudice and preconceived notions. In the Bible, there is a woman who stood out and became a judge, a warrior, and a mother of Israel in her own right in the dark days of their time. She is Deborah. Deborah is a prophet that led iron chariots and sent warriors to victories, inspiring uprisings and leading the blessed. In her time, she inspired women who were seen as servants of God to dwell in the tents, and when asked for water, they give milk, and in cup of honor, cream was served. When there were no leaders, she awoke and arose as a mother of Israel, and willingly led among the people blessed by God. What is the role of women and feminism in Christianity?
Now for the world of text. Before I begin, I would like to raise a question. What is the role of women and feminism in Christianity? Deborah was not only Israel's lone female judge, she was also the only judge to be called a prophet. The text paints Deborah as both decisive and compassionate. In the story, the Israelites then again continually sin against God, and then God let the Canaanites rule over them for 20 years as punishment. The miserable life they lived within 2 decades was too much to handle, and therefore they asked God for help. Here came Deborah, the judge of Israel, during a time when the Israelites came up to her for judgment. And here, the author portrayed Deborah as the answer to the Israelites' lament. The interpretation of events was expressed structurally by a series of paradoxes, and was able to show the story in poetic form, structurally showing how Israelites as slaves became Israelites as victors, led by a woman judge. Deborah's courage and faith in persuading Barak, discerning the activity of God, and moving others to accept their responsibilities were very, very important factors in their victory. Basically, judges would hear cases from the people, and they would also offer deliverance. The Judges chapters 4 and 5 are written in a form of prose and poetry, respectively. The 4th chapter was narrated in short story form that talks about the prophet Deborah and Barak leading an army to get rid of the Canaanites who were enslaving Israelites.
What do experts think with the story of Deborah?
So, what do experts think about the story of Deborah? So basically, the story of Deborah in the Bible shows us the Lord calls ordinary people to do extraordinary things that can only be accomplished through the Spirit. And Deborah is one of the Bible's most powerful ladies. Judge Deborah was supposed to hear God's voice and communicate God's word with others as a prophet. She did not give sacrifices like the males, but she did lead religious rituals and preach as a priestess. Deborah is one of the Bible's most powerful ladies. She is recognized for her knowledge and bravery, and she is the only woman in the Old Testament who is remembered for her own faith and actions rather than for her connection with her husband or another male. So Deborah was also a wife according to several biblical scholars. However, because the Hebrew term for woman and wife is identical, so we cannot be sure if Deborah was a woman of Lapidoth or a wife of Lapidoth. So Deborah in the Bible was a prophet of God. She is the 4th judge mentioned in the book of Judges and the only female judge mentioned in the Bible. She was also a leader of Israel, and she became a military leader. She was a songwriter and a minstrel leading her people in worship after the victory had been won.
Let us learn more about her to further understand her decisions and life.
With this, we are bound to make a change and be the change for our society. As young women, we are closer to addressing issues such as women empowerment, occupational segregation by gender, and even gender inequality in schools, colleges, and in degree choices. In connection with the story of Deborah, modern day women also could speak up and be the voice others wanted to hear. We can be the leaders of our own and help other people, regardless of their race and nationality. Deborah taught us to be courageous and have unwavering faith in God, to respond to His call and belong to His people. At some point of our lives, we are scared to take a risk or even a leap of faith. But God, knowing His might and zeal, would not leave us astray, for He will guide us and provide us with all the things we need, in which we might not see and receive immediately.
If Deborah is considered as the she-wolf of Christianity, then in the modern day, there exists a woman of her time. We were privileged to get an interview from the first Filipina to receive the Princess Diana Award, established in memory of Diana, Princess of Wales. The Diana Award is the most prestigious accolade a young person can receive for their social action or humanitarian work. She is Miss Shawntel Nieto, a graduate of the Ateneo de Manila University, who organized a food program that aided communities affected by the pandemic. To date, the One Kainta food program that she co-founded has helped 400,000 people and distributed 1.1 million goods in Cainta and other cities. Here is Miss Shawntel Nieto to share her thoughts about the Diana Award and the role of women in today's society.
Hi, my name is Shawntel Nicole Martinez Nieto. I am the founder and director of the One Kainta Food Program, the president of the Society of Sustainability Practitioners, and I also co-host a podcast called Sustain a Rumble. Please do check it out on Apple and Spotify podcast. I am the very first Filipino to receive a Diana Award for ever. So I'm the very first Filipino to receive a Diana Award, and today I'll be answering a couple of questions for Krista and her thesis mate. Okay. So the very first question is, how does it feel to be the first Filipino to be awarded by the Princess Diana Award? Honestly, it's been about a week, and I still can't quite put my finger on how I'm feeling. Primarily because I'm feeling a myriad of emotions right now. I feel immense gratitude for having received the award. I feel very excited for the opportunities that can come about as a result of it. I know that the Diana Award has a huge network and it has a great development program. So I'm excited to see what opportunities and work can come about from my inclusion into the program and into the network. What challenges did you face in leading your food program that aided communities affected by the pandemic? There have been a lot of challenges. Of course, we were on lockdown. We started the food program March 2020. We literally started the literal first week of the lockdown. It was a challenge logistically because no one was allowed to go out of the house. All of the workforces were skeletal. And it's not as if you can easily rally volunteers to your cause because, again, no one was leaving their house. But thankfully, we really leveraged on a lot of key partnerships from the very start. We were partnering with corporations and organizations, with families and individuals that supported our program either by providing relief goods and canned goods, money, or even packed meals that we can distribute to the communities. But we've also been in close partnership with the local government. They really have been supporting us logistically. You can't solely rely, of course, on sympathy or compassion, but you can still have faith in people to be able to deliver and to support. So what do you think is the role of women in our society, especially now in the time of the pandemic? Actually, it's very interesting. So I've been in the impact space since 2015. I started when I co-founded my very first social enterprise called BMB Solutions. Through BMB Solutions, we sought to provide marginalized communities with electricity and water through electricity generating water filtration bikes. So through just biking the bike, anecdotally, I say about 60, 65 to 70% of the founders that I meet, especially within the impact space, are women. It's crazy. Majority of the social entrepreneurs are women. Majority of people leading foundations, advocating for change, working for the SDGs, they're mostly women. It's actually really amazing. It makes you wonder why. I may not fully have all of the answers. I might need to do my own research study on that. But generally, it's really amazing to see how women are able to use our, skills on empathy, compassion, kindness, vulnerability, as well as our skills in organization in order to create social enterprises, initiatives, advocacies that make the world a better place. Women, we represent more than half of the world's population. And yet we're still heavily marginalized, especially as far as gender equality is concerned. So showing up and speaking up already does a lot because it raises our voice collectively as women. It serves as our own personal advocacy towards the gender equality movement. And, when we rise and we act in ways that empower us collectively, then we all rise together. So I think one of the roles women ought to play in a post-pandemic world is to really step into our power, take the lead, take the command whatever space you're in, and really exercise the rights as women that we always deserve to have. So that's point number 2. What will your advice be to women who look up to you? It would be to step into your power, to know your value, know what you stand for, know what your vision is. Know what your vision is for yourself, for the world, and then act on it. Act on it in whatever form that action might take place. Take control of it. Really own it. Own your space. Take space and cultivate the courage to speak up, stand up, and lead, and simply be as well. I think that's the biggest advice I give to any woman. As women, we're taught to be meek and humble, to be pretty but not attention seeking, to be smart and competent but not too aggressive. There's a lot of work that needs to still be done, and we can all add to that work by refusing to be anyone else but ourselves.
So what is behind the text of Deborah?
Deborah is already presented as a judge, prophetess, and the wife of Lapidoth in chapter 4. In the Bible, the palm of Deborah represents divine call, powerful intercession, anointed leadership, and a woman's internal strength. God continuously picks and brings up leaders who would rescue and save them from their opponents in the new age as shown in Judges. The interesting thing is the Bible depicts Israel's great era as a time when the nation is led by a woman who is Deborah. Based on the Song of Deborah, their culture is from the Old Hebrew, and Deborah and Barak won the battle not just by themselves, and it is also with the deliverance of God that made them win. She called herself as the mother of Israel. From the start, God would choose someone that is capable of fulfilling His commands, and in this time it is a woman who is Deborah. The Israelites continued their idolatry, but God prevailed in the end, destroyed all the gods that the Israelites worshipped, and rescued them from their oppressors. As women of faith, we should be fearless and strong like Deborah to tackle our problems head-on with the guidance of the Lord.
Both of the women who we featured today are she-wolves. Deborah and Miss Shawntel are the women of their time who inspires and leads. The woman who knows what she wants and is free of prejudice and preconceived notions. She defends her deepest desires with teeth and claws like a wild animal. Their works are astonishing despite the gender roles embedded in our culture. It goes to show the empowered place of women in the society, both in religion, culture, and history.